again, all you beautiful people out there. I am Mrs. Realistic, and I thank you for joining me today. All right, I've gotten tons of requests for Samson's new song, What About Us? So without further ado, let's check it out.
Don't tread on me. Those are words that I stand by, homie. It doesn't mean I'm gangster, it doesn't mean I'm country. It means that my life is in my hands only. I don't have money for security, I don't have armed guards that I keep snug around me. You don't think I deserve protection like you do, and that means you don't give a fuck about me. Gated community, that's what you live in. Hatred and mutiny, that's what we live in. So come down here and hang with us for a minute. See if you leave with the same fucking opinion. Who's gonna help me out if I get robbed? What if somebody were to beat up my mother? Who's gonna be there to save our lives? You? Nah, me, motherfucker. I'm the only one that's...
That's exactly true. All of those who live in gated communities, who have armed guards, including celebrities, politicians, and the rest of their ilk, they have, as Tom said in one of his songs, their gate is 15 feet, and they have security systems. They have probably, especially the politicians, round-the-clock armed guards. And then they talk about how we need to regulate what kind of firearms the average Joe can carry. None of them actually know what an AR is. They think it stands for assault rifle, when it actually stands for Armalite rifle. What was that lady's name? She's a politician. She did an interview about how they're so heavy that she could barely lift it up, and they use 50 cal bullets. They're so out to lunch, they have no clue what they're talking about. They still think that automatic weapons are for sale at Dick's Sporting Goods or Bass Pro Shop, and they tell us that we don't need them to protect our family. I heard one guy say, why don't you just use your hands? Use your hands against a gun? Use your hands against somebody breaking into your house with a gun? See how far that gets you. The gun is the great equalizer. Bad guys are never going to follow the law. Bad guys are probably able to get any kind of gun they want, including automatic weapons. So passing laws about any of this, it's not going to make a difference. This country was founded on these principles. The right to bear arms is one of them. And I'm so tired of hearing this argument. I've heard so many interviews where people say, well, we shouldn't have automatic weapons or weapons of war. Those are already illegal. So if you're going to spout a bunch of stuff about guns and what we should or shouldn't be allowed to carry, do a little research first.
Who's gonna be there to save our lives? You? Nah, me, motherfucker. I'm the only one that's got my back. It's dog eat dog, these are not no cats. There's cops in Michigan that can't even respond to their calls because their cars ain't got no gas. Great.
That's
Police
true.
don't have any fuel. You don't know if they'll arrive when you call them. The babies are starving. My girlfriend can't find a tampon, and yet somehow you and I are the problem. Somehow. I've never bought a gun without having my background scanned and approved. The only loophole I've seen on a gun is the one that you put a fucking lanyard through. It's not true that you can go to the store and just swipe your card and get a Glock and run. It's funny, the people that say that shit have literally never even shot one.
That is exactly right. They think that you can go to a gun show and just buy a gun without a background check. The only way you can get a gun without a background check is if a family member gifts you a gun. If you buy a gun and you buy it through a store, you buy it through a gun show, you have to have a background check. Simple as that. He's right. These people talking about it have literally never bought a gun. They don't do research about guns. And yet they think that they can pass laws on the average people about guns. Totally crazy.
Get a Glock and run. It's funny, the people that say that shit have literally never even shot one. Dumbass. Hey, Matthew McConaughey.
Oh
Shut the
boy.
fuck up. Just cause you murdered people on screen doesn't mean you know shit about guns, you dumb fuck. What, you worried about us? What about all of those violent movies that you played? How about you go talk to Alec Baldwin before you start telling me what to do, okay? You found me? I
burn.
was horrified by it. That's your hometown, you were born right by it. It probably cuts deep and I hope that it does, cause you work in an industry that glorifies violence. It's more your fault than it will ever be mine. Lord only knows how many crimes that you've influenced throughout your whole career, cause I've seen you kill people plenty of times. What do you think is gonna cause a shooting? A YouTube video of a gun review? Or a Hollywood murder scene that seems so realistic it looks like it's from the news? So next time that you wanna point your finger with a stupid opinion and chime in with it, remember, it ain't me that they're trying to be like, dog. It's you that they're trying to mimic. I feel...
That's so awesome that he said this. I don't know if any of you saw the Matthew McConaughey at the White House speech. It was a tragedy what happened. Any mass shooting, any shooting of any kind where people are killed, especially children, is an absolute travesty. And then these politicians and these celebrities take this as a way to push more gun control. When these celebrities literally glorify violence on screen. And he's right. You go watch a YouTube video about how to properly care for a gun, about how to purchase a gun, about how to use a gun safely. Do you think that's going to make Mr. Looney Tune who wants to shoot up a school go shoot that school up? Or do you think that all of those movies that he watched from who knows what age, if you've got a screw loose and you're watching these movies and you're like, man, these guys are so badass, I'm going to go do this. It is more on their shoulders. If you want to talk about gun control and you want to go and spout this BS at the White House, why don't you stop making those movies? Because how many movies has he made with guns and explosions and who knows what else? How many celebrities have made these? How many movies? Those are like the most popular movies in the world are action films where people get murdered willy-nilly and it's like we just watch it and zone out, and nobody even thinks about the fact that if this was real, real people would be dead, right?
With it, remember, it ain't me that they're trying to be like, dog. It's you that they're trying to mimic. I feel way more safe in a place where the people are legally armed. If something happens like a mass shooting, I have a way less chance of being lethally harmed. A criminal is gonna think twice if he knows everybody is a piece underneath their clothes. And Mayor Lightfoot will probably tell you different, but have you seen Chicago? And no, before you ask, I don't want to be like Canada either. And I don't want to be like Australia. I'm sick of everybody using them as a humanity meter. There's a reason that they can do whatever they want to their citizens, like fucking throw them in camps. And there's a reason that our government doesn't even try that shit because they know that they can't. If you don't think for one split second that if we didn't have our Second Amendment, the government wouldn't overstep its boundaries and make us do shit even when we're against it, you're out of your mind. I don't give a damn where you stand or how or what you vote. That's dandy and fine if you trust Uncle Sam, but I, for one, fucking don't. And why would I? What have they done? Give me a reason for me to believe them. They want to trade me a little security in exchange for a big-ass piece of my freedom. They don't want to take away guns because they care about you and they want to keep you safe at night. They want to take away guns because it's easy to control people if they don't have any way to fight.
This is something that I think a lot of people who are anti-gun, they hear people talk like this and they think that you're a Looney Tune and we don't need guns, you know, let's get rid of the guns. There's something like 400 million guns in this country. How are you going to get rid of those? Are you going to get rid of all the ones that the bad guys purchase on the black market? Are you going to get rid of all the guns that are illegally owned? Because how do you go about doing that? The fact is, we have far more people here than Australia. We have far more people here than Canada. We have far more people than England. And just because they got rid of guns doesn't mean that deaths or murders went down. Gun deaths may have. But then in England, murders through stabbings, somebody wants to hurt somebody or kill somebody, they're going to find a weapon to use. If there's no guns, and I mean, the thing is, people in England and Australia, they still have guns. I've talked to a few people who say it's just really hard to get. I know people in Canada who have guns. I don't know what the laws are now, but you know, when I was growing up, my dad was a guide for an outfitting company. They hunted big game. We had guns, rifles. He had a gun mount in the back of his truck. So, he didn't murder anybody. He had guns for hunting purposes. If you, as a sane, rational person, wants to have a gun to protect your family, you're not going to go out and murder people unless you've got something wrong up here. And that's the whole thing, is that it's a mental illness problem that this country isn't dealing with. You can't put a Band-Aid on a broken bone. So passing gun laws is going to do nothing to help people who need mental help. And that's something that they really need to deal with. If somebody would have helped these people with their mental illness, these things could have been avoided. And the fact is that more murders and mass shootings are done with handguns than AR-15s. I just don't know why this doesn't seem like common sense to people, but whatever. Nothing seems common sense anymore.
You safe at night. They want to take away guns because it's easy to control people if they don't have any way to fight. Hey buddy, what your little AR-15 gonna do if the government comes to take it? Well, Ukraine started handing out rifles to all of the citizens when the Russians invaded, so what about that? I thought it wouldn't help. I guarantee that it'd be better than nothing. I hope it never does, but if the day comes, I bet that you're gonna wish that you had something. This is the only country on earth where the people have real strength. And nowadays, with all the shit going on, it's the only thing that makes me feel safe. If there's anything that I've learned in the past couple years looking back at the pandemic, all of the shit that we have is fragile, and it could snap at any second. Fuck all of the politicians. I don't trust anything they say. Take the word gun out of gun control, and that's all that it is at the end of the day. I don't give a fuck how crazy you think that I look or I sound when I say this shit, but our Second Amendment's the only thing that stands between us and a dictatorship.
Boom.
And as for the kids, I'm not a security expert, so I won't act like one. But I think that if we can send over $50 billion to Ukraine, we could surely spend that much, or more, or less, here in our own country to fortify our schools and make them more secure so that every kid can get an education safe and sound. Place several trained armed guards in every school across America. You know, real men who won't stand by for 45 minutes in the hallway while a shooting unfolds in front of their own eyes. And pay them well, too. There's veterans that need the work.
That's true.
Why not protect our kids the same way that we protect you? Politicians are protected by guns. Celebrities are protected by guns. Every important person that walks this earth is protected by a gun. But our kids, they're important. Just not as much as you.
Well, there you have it, folks. I've watched a lot of different sort of man on the street videos where they ask people, should we keep the Second Amendment and all this kind of stuff. And I'm amazed at how many people say, no, we shouldn't keep it. They talk about protecting children, and yet there was no stopping somebody from literally walking into a school and doing whatever they wanted. There have been teachers that have come out and said, I want to get trained. I want to be able to protect my children in my classroom. And he's totally right. There are veterans who need the work who are highly trained. And then I hear the argument for that, oh, well, that makes school a scary place to be. Is that better? Or is it better that somebody can just freely come into a school? Let's just hope for the best. Why are the lives of children in school not as important? You put a sign up on a school that says gun-free zone. That's like a free smorgasbord for a 400-pound food addict. There's nobody stopping you from doing it. I highly recommend you watch James Klug on YouTube. He does quite a few of these man on the street interviews about guns, and he does one with two different signs. One is gun-free zone, and the other one is basically like, don't even try it. You will be taken down by force. Armed guard on premises. Anyway, I could go on and on about that forever, but the fact of the matter is children are the future of this country, and they should be protected as such. So thank you so much, everybody, for requesting this video. I love Samson, and I'm so glad that he had a new video for me to cover. Samson is the GOAT when it comes to this kind of stuff, and I love reacting to it. So thank you once again, everybody. And as I always say, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.